It is Econo Chat Let's Talk Business with Mr. Daniel Steinman. Week 43 it is, and I'm Elsie. And of course, we do have Mr. Daniel Steinman in studio with us. Welcome, Mr. Steinman.
Thank you, Elsie. And it's very nice to be here with the audience and everything.
Of course, ne? We promised to talk about something the last time, but of course, something came up, and we are talking about the economic growth. Now, for the first quarter of the year, the economy grew by 5.3%. That is January, February, and March. Now, of course, when we look at it, Mr. Steinman, is that we didn't expect this to happen with COVID hitting the world. We thought that it's going to take us a long time before we get where we are now. But we would like to know.
You are right.
What happened for us to be where we are now?
Well, let's look what happened between 2021 and 2022.
Yeah.
You're 100% right. The very good growth in the first quarter came as a big surprise. I don't think anybody at the statistics agency or in economics or in finances or in investment, nobody expected a 5.3% print. We were looking at, and I think the official Bank of Namibia guidance was still 3.7% at that time. But you have to remember that is an annual figure.
Yeah.
But it is, if you use your common sense, it tells you that if you want to grow 5.3% annually, it means you have to have 4 consecutive quarters in a row. You have to grow 5.3% every quarter.
Yeah.
Because why? This is a quarter on previous year comparison. This is not quarter on quarter. So it's not January, February, March measured against October, November, December.
Yeah.
It is compared to January, February, March last year.
Yeah.
So we call that annual, quarter on quarter, not successive. And it's very important because remember, January, February, March 2021, we were still very much in the midst of COVID.
Yeah.
So if you look at the traditional sectors where you can expect growth, it didn't show towards the end of last year, end of 2021, especially property. FNB has got a very good quarterly property index that they compile. And I follow that. I've been following it for nearly 10 years now. So what's very nice is that if you follow it for such a long time, you start seeing the trends.
Oh, yes, you do.
You know, especially if you know somebody there and you ask him, hey, send me a file for the last 5 years or so, stuff that they normally don't publish, except the last report. But nevertheless, property was not one of the building blocks of the revival. So where did the growth come from? And it was mostly mining and retail. Now let's put mining on the side just for a few seconds, and we look at retail. And it was expected, not because of this massive increase in salaries, because you and I know that nobody got increases in 2021. And this year, if you're lucky, you're looking at 3.5%, 4.5%. If you've got a very gracious company, maybe 6%. But if you got 6% this year, I can guarantee you will not get 6% next year. You know, the point is, I think it's often referred to as pent-up demand. A whole big bunch of us had to sit at home for nearly 2 years. Now, if you are at home, you can, especially if you didn't lose your job or your income. You know, if you worked from home, if you really worked from home, not just being at home. So it means that you had an income, but you couldn't spend it. After you've paid for the kids' education and the car and the house, what you would normally live on, I mean, slop chips can only be nice for so long. So it means that living expenses for most families families came down quite a lot in 2020 and 2021. And that created a bit of or it created savings in areas where we didn't expect it. And when we started returning to normal activity in 2022, the pent-up demand, in other words, what we wanted to spend money on, but which we did not, that led to bigger increase in spending in the beginning of this year. And that is the reason why retail contributed so much to the revival. So let's take a break and then we can have a look at what was the role of mining.
Okay, so with that said, we will go for a short break, and once we come back, like Mr. Daniel Steinman said, we will look into mining.